Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are on a mission to decode a seriously fascinating training blueprint, one that quite literally keeps global shipping safe. We're looking at the International Maritime Organization's Model Course 1.07. Now, I know, that sounds highly technical, maybe a little dry, but trust me on this, it's the foundational architecture of maritime safety. We are going to unpack exactly how seafarers are trained to use radar to prevent catastrophic collisions at sea. Right off the bat, I want you to picture this. You're at the helm of a massive cargo ship. The waters around you are pitch black, or, maybe they're completely choked with thick, impenetrable fog. You have absolutely zero visibility. So how do you navigate? How do you make sure you don't collide with another vessel or run aground? Well, the answer is radar. But here's the catch. Just having the equipment isn't enough. You have to know exactly how to use it. Standardized radar training is literally the ultimate solution to this terrifying reality, and that is exactly what we're digging into today. So here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, standardizing radar navigation. 2, who takes this course? 3, the 7 core topics. 4, simulators and teaching tools. And finally, 5, meeting global competency standards. Let's jump right in.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, standardizing radar navigation.
Think about it. When massive ships from dozens of different nations cross paths in international waters, you absolutely cannot have different standards for how radar is interpreted, right? There has to be a unified global standard, and it all revolves around one recurring theme: the safety of navigation. Looking at the 2017 edition of the IMO Model Course 1.07, the material makes a really crucial point. This manual isn't meant to be some rigid, strict script that instructors just follow blindly. Instead, it's designed to be a flexible compass. It actually allows training providers to tweak their programs based on what kind of work experience the trainees already have, while still making sure they hit those mandatory global benchmarks. And this whole philosophy is perfectly captured by a quote from the IMO Secretary General at the time, Lim. He noted that the real key to success isn't just about, passing a multiple choice test. It's about strictly adhering to the requirements of the STCW convention while seamlessly blending them with industry best practices. It's that specific combo that truly builds confidence in seafarers and makes navigating these giant ships genuinely safer. Moving right along to Section 2, who takes this course?
You definitely don't just walk in off the street to take this class. The entry standards are intense. Before even starting, trainees must have racked up a minimum of 6 months of sea time, preferably with actual watchkeeping experience. Plus, they need a solid foundation. They've got to be comfortable with PC operations, passage planning, and other critical navigational aids like GPS and automatic identification systems. All of this groundwork is aimed at one goal: certification as an officer in charge of a navigational watch. Basically, you have to really know the sea before you're trusted to master the radar that navigates it.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 7 core topics. So the really brilliant thing here is how the curriculum is strategically split up. On one side, you have the raw, foundational manual skills, understanding the radar data and doing manual plotting. On the flip side, you have ARPA, which stands for Automatic Radar Plotting Aids. The course designers totally understood that you can't safely use these advanced automated tracking systems unless you first deeply, intuitively understand the manual geometry and physics of what the radar is actually seeing. It's kind of like learning to drive a manual transmission before you're handed the keys to an automatic. The course itself is built on 7 specific modules. It starts off fast with basic theory, moves right into setting up the radar, then using it for navigation and manual plotting. Once you've got those foundational concepts locked down, the curriculum shifts into the theory and operation of ARPA and target tracking. But I want you to look closely at Topic 7. This is the big one. This is where the entire syllabus culminates. The application of COLREGs, the international regulations for preventing collisions at sea. Everything these students learn in Topics 1 through 6 is ultimately about making the right, rule-based decisions in Topic 7 to prevent a crash. Let's pivot now to Section 4. Simulators and teaching tools. Obviously, you can't learn how to avoid a massive collision purely by reading a textbook, which is exactly why the practical training is so heavily regulated. I really want to draw your attention to this number, 3. The source material explicitly states that course intake has to be limited to not more than 3 trainees per radar and simulator display. Now, why such a strict limit? Because every single practical assessment has to be performed independently. Think about it. In a real-world crisis, you don't have a committee standing around helping you read the radar screen. You have to know how to do it yourself. This rule guarantees everyone gets that crucial, independent, hands-on practice. And it's pretty wild to see how the learning environments compare. Your theoretical classroom is pretty standard stuff, right? Blackboards, projectors, and paper charts for teaching the geometry of relative motion. But the practical simulator, that is a highly controlled, high-tech environment. It requires an instructor station, a minimum of 2 separate own-ship stations, and adjacent plotting tables. These simulators are no joke. They must meet very strict IMO performance standards to accurately mimic what real shipborne radar can do. And finally, Section 5, Meeting Global Competency Standards. This mapping is so cool because it reveals exactly how daily simulator practice actually translates into global certification. Notice how perfectly these pieces fit together. That high-level STCW requirement for application of collision regs, it maps directly to course topic 7. The requirement to use parallel indexing maps perfectly to subtopic 3.3. And that absolutely critical skill to determine CPA, the closest point of approach, that maps right to subtopic 4.3. Every single granular lesson taught has a direct, legal, and practical mandate worldwide. Okay, so before we wrap this up, I want to pose a question to you, one that represents maybe the most critical objective in this entire training course. What is the greatest hidden danger of modern, highly automated radar systems? I mean, you've got all these incredible computers, tracking systems, and alarms perfectly designed to keep you safe. What could possibly go wrong? The danger, believe it or not, is over-reliance. The course actually dedicates specific time just to teach the risks of trusting technology too much. The real danger is a human officer who stops questioning the screen, who just assumes the automatic tracking and the alarms are gonna catch everything. True safety at sea doesn't just come from a perfectly calibrated piece of ARPA tech. It comes from a highly trained, skeptical, and focused officer who understands the radar's limitations just as well as its capabilities. And that is exactly what IMO Model Course 1.07 builds. But it does leave us with a pretty provocative thought. As shipping technology hurdles faster and faster toward fully autonomous, AI-driven vessels, how will these human-centric training models have to evolve to ensure that the human element remains the ultimate failsafe?